One of these photos is not Sidney Crosby. Can you tell the difference? Because I can't. Let's get into the Hockey Talk Show. Hey, Joel Palin, and welcome to another Hockey Talk Show Quick Hit. Of course, you can follow along on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are at Hockey Talk Show, and you can get all the details and information at hockeytalkshow.com. This is another quick hit. We're going to be doing live episodes really soon on Facebook and YouTube Live, where you have a chance to use that number you see on the screen there and call in. Of course, if you're not watching this and you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, the TuneIn Radio app, or Podbean, remember to rate and review those podcasts. Give them a thumbs up. That's how we get a little bit higher up in the whole podcast ranking world. All right, so Sidney Crosby here. Which one of these is Sidney Crosby? Well, it's tough to tell. Over the weekend, Sid the Kid took a 10-minute misconduct in a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, where the Pittsburgh Penguins wound up losing by the score of 7-0. And on top of that, may have even cost Niemi his career with Pittsburgh here, as he was placed on waivers. Before we get into, diving into Sidney Crosby, I just want to put this out there. I want to say this. I'm a hockey fan above all else. Now, I have my team allegiances and, everything else, but I love the game. So I want to just preface the next segment here with, I appreciate Sidney Crosby. I love what he's done for the game. He's an ambassador for the game. He's in the lineage of, Wayne Gretzky and Jaromir Jagr. And, he's been one of the greats. He's carried the NHL from, their 2000 and whenever he got into the league till now. And we all know that Connor McDavid, and I say Austin Matthews, although he's not really in the conversation much, is going to pick up the mantle and run, and Patrick Laine and all these guys. And in between, there's been Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves and, Kolpazar and Steven Stamkos. Sure, there's all that stuff. But Sid the Kid, obviously a huge part of the game. And I want to just say, we can joke around and do things like this, but it's all in good fun. I know what he does for the game. I know how important he is for the game. I just want to put that out there before everybody starts screaming. But that being said, Sid does complain a lot to the referees, and it has been an annoying part of his game. And it's something that the detractors of Sidney Crosby can pick on, and they have a case. He does complain a lot. Now, that being said, Wayne Gretzky complained a lot to the referees too. All the players work the referees. You may not see it more. You may not notice it more. Sid kind of has that reputation, so maybe he gets more of the blame than he probably deserves. I don't know if he's complaining much more than the other players, but I think we would like one of the best players in the game to shut up when he gets a penalty. We expect those guys who are up here and above everybody else to act that way when things aren't going their way. Now, that being said, every star in the game complains to referees. But like I said, you want Sidney to be a little bit better. And honestly thought that the call against him was not exactly unfair, but at the same time, I thought he should have handled it way better. Now, Sid said he was getting chirped, and he says that there's always somebody who takes a shot at him early on in the game. It was the first shift of the game. And so he gave, I forgot who even it was. It was Jan Gord from Tampa Bay, and he gave him a little, shot with his stick, and the referee called him for cross-checking. Tampa Bay converts on the penalty, so Sid comes out of the box, I think in a minute into the game or a minute 30 into the game, and then he chirps the referee a bunch, and the referee slaps a 10-minute misconduct on him, and he got upset. And here's the thing. Sidney said in the post-game interviews, hey, everybody winds up chirping at me after the first shift as I head back to the bench. It's nothing uncommon. So, maybe Sid was trying to protect himself a little bit, give the guy a little bit, give him a little two-hander to the back. You want to talk trash? I'm going to fight back, that sort of deal. But my thing is, if you're getting it every single game, if you're used to being chirped at, if people are talking smack to you at the beginning of the game, yeah, you should have a right to defend yourself and throw your stick out there and let them know you're not going to be pushed around. But at the same time, Shouldn't you be used to people talking smack to you? I don't know if Sid was having a bad day, you know, his coffee was a little too cold pregame or what the case was, but I don't know why he, you know, super overreacted in this particular instance. Now, I believe the referee was completely within his rights, and I don't know who the referee was in the game. It's not really all that important, but I'm going to put the clips in the description on Facebook and YouTube here, so if you're listening on the podcast, just go to thehockeytalkshow.com to take a look at it and click on the Facebook or YouTube links. I'm going to put the clip in the description. He got in the ref's face. He got a little too close, and he bumped the ref. That's something that nobody is talking about. He gave the ref a little nudge. So he was coming out of the box, and the referee was skating this way, and they accidentally bumped. And then when Sid came back around to kind of talk to him again, they touched shoulders, and they bumped again. Now, I don't think that this was like an intentional thing that Sid was trying to like intimidate him or anything like that. But at the same time, you can't touch a referee. He was far within his rights to give you a 10-minute misconduct. You were acting like a baby at the beginning of a game. And it's early in the year, and you're trying to establish your team, and you guys are having an okay start. You're having a good start. Pittsburgh's off to a good start. But you know, you can't be acting like that in the first couple minutes of a game. You're the captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're two-time defending Stanley Cup champion. 3 rings in your back pocket, international championships in your back pocket. Be a better player. Be a better player. I expect a little bit more from Sid. You know, you got a penalty for cross-checking. They scored on you guys. Get out of the box and put one in the net. That's the best way to get back at somebody. Doesn't he know that by now? And I get players lose their cool and everything. And I know Pittsburgh fans, you're going to probably get on me for this, but I'm sorry. I would hope that you would want more out of your captain. If the captain of my favorite team acted like the way Sid acted, I would say, you know what? He got what he deserved. Did the call go against him? Was it crazy to call a cross check like that so early? That was Sid's argument. Like, who calls a cross check that early in the game? Well, you know, you cross checked the guy. Referees were not going to tolerate that business tonight. Maybe the ref was having a bad day. Maybe his coffee was a little too cold. Maybe he's fighting with his wife or significant other or whatever the case is. And, you know, maybe his kid failed a science project and he was pissed and boom, you get an early penalty call. Deal with it. The referees are always going to set the tone of the game early on. I think that's a good thing. At least you know where their head's at. You know, it's like an umpire in baseball. You better find out where the strike zone is in the first 3 innings. Because you don't want to be, you know, inconsistent in innings 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. You know what I'm saying? Like, know where the strike zone is. Hey, if he's calling it high this game, he's calling it high this game. Now you know your second and third at bats around. And you can't argue with him when he calls that pitch a high strike because that's the way it was. He set the tone early in the game. I think it's good that the refs do that, whether it's with a warning or an immediate call right off the bat. So Sid's got a man up there. He's got a man up. He deserved the 10-minute penalty all the way. And by the way, indirectly cost Antti Niemi maybe his career, as this guy has just continued to fall from grace. I don't know what's going on with Antti Niemi. Lest we not forget, because I did and had to catch up with it in the pre-show research that I did. Not like I really did research. I don't want to get around that I'm doing show prep because that's ridiculous. I don't want to get that reputation. But Antti Niemi, this guy won a cup with the Blackhawks. Won a cup with the Blackhawks. One of the strangest careers. Like, you win a cup with a goalie, you try and hold on to that goalie forever. I realize how ironic that is that the Pittsburgh Penguins just let Marc-Andre Fleury go. But still, in most cases, you grab a goaltender that works, you try and keep him for as long as possible. Niemi and the Blackhawks, because of their salary situation, had to let him go. He won the arbitration case, if you remember, back in 10 or whatever it was. And they had to let him go. He signs with San Jose. He continues to do well with San Jose. Then he gets traded for practically nothing. 2 late picks from San Jose to Dallas. Has to split time with Kari Lehtonen in Dallas. Winds up becoming the backup in Dallas. And then winds up signing for $700,000 to be the backup for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, this poor guy, you talk about falling from grace. This guy has fallen hard. He's fallen hard. We have some audio from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette here. This is Mike Sullivan talking about Niemi being waived. And I'm not even sure that he knew that he was being waived or he knew what the plan was or anything like that. Let's take a listen.
Well, those are, part of the responsibility, or part of the role, I should say, of a backup goalie is a lot of times they get the back end of the back-to-backs. It's never an ideal circumstance, but that's part of the challenge of that role on the team. And so, would we like to put our goalies in the best possible scenarios for them to succeed? Yes, we would.
What's the plan with Niemi right now as far as him being on waivers today?
The plan is that he's going to go on waivers, and the organization will make decisions moving forward.
I was just wondering, is there an idea that you want to get him into some minor league games to sort of get his feel back?
Well, that would be a great option, is to give him an opportunity to get in some ideal circumstances, and give him an opportunity to build his confidence in an environment that's not as high stakes as the one we're in here.
All right, so that from the scrum today with Mike Sullivan, and a super bizarre scenario where he's asked, like, what's the plan with Niemi moving forward? And his answer is, well, we put him on waivers and it gives the organization some options to blah, 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 blah. Nobody told Mike Sullivan anything. That's what that says. If I'm Mike Sullivan, I'd be a little pissed being like, hey, what are we doing here? Or maybe they did tell him and he just kind of flubbed the answer of they don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't necessarily know if anybody claims him. There's not a ton of teams right now that have goaltending issues that aren't covered. I mean, even Vegas losing Marc-Andre Fleury and now Malcolm Subban, I think they're pretty comfortable with Oscar Dansk, Alexander Dansk. My apologies. I know his name is Dansk. Well, I don't know the rest of it there. All right, we'll get his name. Poor Dansk. First real situation, and we don't know his name. I know they call up Maxim Legacy from the Chicago Wolves, so they got him up for the game here. Oscar Dansk. See, I had it. It was Oscar Dansk. I think they're pretty comfortable going with Dansk for the time being, so I don't even think they would claim him. Not that he's even claimable. I mean, Niemi's getting murdered out there. He's getting killed. You know, we go back to his stats. I mean, they just are not good. Just not good. Let's take a look at Antti Niemi here. 3 games this season. Just a horrific 7 goals against last night. Did he stay in for all 7 goals? Damn, that's brutal. That is brutal. I guess you're giving Matt Murray the night off and you're not wavering from that whatsoever. So there he's got 7 goals against last night. 5 goals against the game before, 4 goals against before that. He lost all 3 of the games. Save percentage just pitiful. 692, 853, 781. Just awful. Just abysmal. I don't know what happened to Antti Niemi. So I don't know if these numbers are attractive enough for any other team to pick him up. I wouldn't think so. And it's all Sid's fault. That's the thing. Poor Antti Niemi's kids aren't going to eat now because Sidney Crosby couldn't handle his temper 3 minutes into the game. I don't know what's to come of Pittsburgh. I know that they have made a move and they've brought up another goalie. So I don't know. But I thought that Mike Sullivan's handling of the interview was pretty interesting. I'll put the video clip in the comments section below on Facebook and YouTube again. He he didn't seem like he had an answer. He didn't seem like he was maybe prepared to answer the question. Not like this is a huge controversy. I mean, it's Niemi, and he's not doing great. It's the backup goaltender. You know, Matt Murray is going to be your guy. God forbid Murray goes down. I don't know where that leaves Pittsburgh for the rest of the season, but this is all hypothetical stuff. But the point is, you should kind of know what's going on. Like, you know, hey, he's on waivers. If he gets claimed, he gets claimed. If he doesn't, you know, we'll send him down and we'll see if we can get him some rehab starts. Not rehab starts, but, you know, just some tune-up starts or whatever you want to call it. I think the potential is there. I don't know if you really want to, you know, give up on the guy altogether. He's only a $700,000 cost to you. You know, you see what you can do there. As far as, you know, Niemi goes, Casey Desmith has come up from Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and he'll be backing up Matt Murray. Let's take a look at Casey's statistics here. You can see 2015-2016 season, he had 6 games in Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 1.94 goals against, pretty good. 2016-2017, 29 games in Scranton Wilkes-Barre, just over two goals a game, goals against average, I should say. And Scranton Wilkes-Barre this season and in 3 games, 0.98 goals against. So not too bad for young Mr. Casey Desmith here. Let's see what the Pittsburgh Penguins wind up doing. You know, if this young kid's doing it and he's in the lineup and he'll be a decent backup, let's see what happens. The thing is does Niemi report? You know, does he report to Scranton Wilkes-Barre if he clears waivers, which he probably will, or do they just, you know, terminate his contract and he goes his separate way? I don't know. I mean, they still have to pay him. That's the thing. I don't know if he would walk away from that kind of money, you know. We'll have to wait and see. But that's what's going on with Pittsburgh here as we're in the middle of a Hockey Talk Show quick hit. Make sure you guys are following us. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are at Hockey Talk Show. And, of course, hockeytalkshow.com. I want to move over quickly to Jonathan Ledecky, the owner of the New York Islanders. I've been kind of saving, you know, getting into the Islanders arena situation. There's a lot going on there. We're kind of in a holding pattern. Nothing really too much to discuss that's going on. So I'm kind of just leaving that one in my back pocket because I got plenty to say about it. But I'm kind of saving that for a day where we don't have so much excitement to talk about. But I did want to bring it up today because Ledecky did something interesting. He took the LIRR to the Barclays Center and was talking to fans. And I have a clip for you here on Newsday. And I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty fascinating. And I want to play a little bit of it for you here so you can get a look at this guy.
Well, we're trying to build a brand new building that you're going to come to.
It's about time.
Yeah, at a place called Belmont Park. Our fingers are crossed on the RFP. We want to be selected, and we're out here trying to explain to the fans to be patient as we try to get this across the line. You look at the plot of land that they're allocating to the arena project, it's adjacent to the LIRR stop. So that's a terrific amenity for the fans and for an arena project to have that transportation right there. If you took a circle and drew it around Belmont Park, all the constituencies that are Islander fans will come. And people ask me, you know, why not go back to the Coliseum? As the Commissioner Bettman has described it, it's just not, as wonderful it is with all the great memories of the barn, it's just not set up today for a modern arena. It's not set up for the things that you need to generate the revenue to have a team that can compete for the cup. We're really working hard to let people know that we are so happy and so passionate about the team, and that passion of our fans means so much to them as they fight to win that 5th Stanley Cup.
Can you believe this guy? Right, sitting on the subway with the rest of the fans. Like, are you kidding me? And by the way, and look, he was obviously doing an interview. They're obviously drumming up a little bit of press here. But from what I understand, he takes the subway, he takes the LIRR often. Now, what other owners in the National Hockey League do you know that are riding the subway to the game with the fans? With the fans. Guy's taking his life into his own hands. Are you crazy? Guy's nuts. I would never do that. I don't like riding with the fans on the subway. I wouldn't do that at all. I would hate to do that. LIRR? I don't think so, man. I do not think so whatsoever. Not for me. Not for your old pal Ant. No. I understand he does this quite often. Now, the Islanders practice out in Roosevelt Field. Where's that? Eisenhower Park. That's where their new facility is, which is down the block from where the Coliseum was, for those of you who are not in the Long Island area. And they play games at the Barclays. So, from what I understand, he's at the Islanders practice facility there in the morning, sees the team, spends the day working there. He's got an office there, hops on the LIRR, takes it to the Barclays Center, and then goes home to his place in Manhattan. That's what he does. Rides with the fans on the way there. It's unbelievable. So they thought, well, let's take this opportunity to point out to the fans and give them a little update on what's going on. So what we do know about the Islanders situation, again, this is just brief. He was just there to talk about the fans, and he was there to preach patience to the fans. Like, they put in their RFP. They just have to wait and see if they're selected. There's a couple of wrinkles here. I know the soccer team around here in New York is trying to put in a thing. I know that the county of Nassau put in a bid to let Amazon come and develop. I don't know if you've heard this, depending on where you live, but Amazon is putting a second headquarters in the United States somewhere, and they basically are looking for the best deal that they can find. And like every county in the world is offering them the crown jewel and first child and whatever you need to do. Come on in here, Amazon, because it's like a $5 billion economic boom to wherever they wind up settling. So Nassau County offered up that area to them. So that's a possibility. Although I don't believe Amazon will take it in Nassau County. The cost of living is far, far too high and not what they're looking for their employees. So I don't think that's really much to worry about. But I just wanted to point out that it's pretty ridiculous that an owner of a team is taking the train in every day with his fans. And when it came time to like, hey, let's give the fans a little update on what's going on, he decided to, well, let's do it on the LIRR. And there's a double meaning to that too, because kind of an important step in the whole process, and not to get too boring on it, is, you know, they need an LIRR stop. Where they want to build the arena is right where there's an LIRR stop there already at Belmont State Park. That's where they run the Belmont Stakes. They put a $5 million upgrade into that station, which is only a part-time station, but it's super important when they're running the ponies over there at Belmont to get people in and out. So that's really when it runs. It doesn't really run many other times. Obviously, it'll run more with the Islanders, but it got a $5 million upgrade because 36,000 people were trying to leave the Belmont Stakes at one point, and it took them 3.5 hours to get out of there, and they can't have that. NYRA can't have that, the New York Racing Association. So they put $5 million into that facility to make sure it runs efficiently, and it will from now on. Good for the Islanders. They take on the Arizona Coyotes in a game tonight. Arizona, actually, who has not won a game yet. I don't know what is going on with the Arizona Coyotes. They're a far better team than this. They are 0-7-1 in 8 games. They have a -16 goal differential. Antti Ranta, not the answer in goal for them. I thought that they would be far better than what they are right now. They are clearly struggling. They are clearly a young team that needs to take a considerable amount of time to gel together. I thought that, they made some good moves in the offseason. I thought, bringing in Jarmelson was a good move. I thought that, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Alex Goligoski, Nicholas Jarmelson, Luke Shen, that's not a bad top 4. Adam Clendenning they got in there, Jacob Chicherin, Jason Demers. They don't have an awful team. They really don't. Nick Cousins, Max Domi, Anthony Duclair, Christian Dvorak, Tobias Reeder, Derek Stepan was supposed to be a big boost for them. I didn't think he would be. But Antti Ranta coming in here, and Louis Domingue not really doing all that great of a job in the net for the Coyotes so far. Ranta's played 3 games and has a 3.33 goals against average. Not good whatsoever. Not good. Islanders are the type of team, though, they get way too comfortable as soon as they get over 500, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Coyotes win. Depending on when you're watching the show, you might already know the outcome to that, but I think the Islanders will look pretty good. By the way, I must mention this, too. Josh Bailey scored one hell of a goal against the San Jose Sharks in between the legs. I'll put a clip to that in the comments section below. Anything you want to talk about on the show right now, tweet us. Shoot us a Facebook message, drop a comment on Facebook or YouTube. Definitely leave some comments in the comments section. We'll respond to them on the next show for sure. We'll get back to you with that kind of stuff. I want to know what you guys are thinking about that. Speaking of struggles, the Montreal Canadiens continue to struggle here early on in this season. Take a look at this. I like to say GIF. I know it's GIF, but I like to say GIF. Take a look at this GIF here of Kerry Price just busting the lumber. Here he is. Boom. One swing, two swings. Oh, my man is frustrated. Hey, it's bad when you can't break the stick on the first try. You're just having a frustrating time. But when you go back to try it again, you're upset. Times are rough. I actually think it's a good thing. Look, there's a time and a place for this. And if kids are watching, I want you guys to know, back to the Sidney Crosby thing, always act like a pro. Always you got to be a better person. But I think Kerry Price physically showing his frustration here, again, if he shoves somebody or if he whacks another player, unacceptable. But I think Kerry Price physically showing his frustration here is actually a really good thing for his team. Because Kerry Price is the man. Kerry Price is going to carry the Montreal Canadiens this season like he's done every season he's worn that jersey. And the guys in front of him are not getting it done. He hasn't been that great, but his team is downright awful. And I hope that his teammates see something like this and realize we owe Kerry more. You know what I'm saying? These players, these guys, they're in a funk. You got to get them to feel bad for something. It's tough as a player to say, oh, the fans deserve more. Well, the fans always deserve a lot. They put their hard-earned money in. They're at games. Some of them can only afford to go to one game. Some of them, work overtime just to afford the ticket to take their family and all that stuff. You always owe the fans. But you got to fight for the other guys in the room. You're fighting for the tradition. Obviously, you're playing for your owner. Obviously, you're playing for your manager. But you really got to play for one another in that room. And Kerry just smashing that stick, to me, signified to the rest of his team, hey, how much longer are we going to let this guy suffer before we get our act together? Because this is one of the great goaltenders in the world. And look at him. Look at my man go here. Our thanks to NHL.com and the NHL Twitter for the animated GIF right there. We will quote tweet that on our Instagram. We're at Hockey Talk Show. That's at Hockey Talk Show. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. There's just so much going on in the world of hockey. The other thing I want to get into is we're coming up on the 9-10 game deadline for the rookies. Which rookies are going to stay? Which rookies are going to go? I think most rookies that are playing right now that are on that 9-10 game bubble, you know how it works in the National Hockey League. You can get a guy in his entry-level deal on the first year, and you can get him in for 9 games. But the 10th game, if he stays, he stays. You have to either send him down to the juniors or you keep him up there by you, but that's it. So that's kind of the deadline to make those decisions. I think a majority of the young guys are going to stay. And I think when you break down the young guys in the league right now between Nico Hischier, especially with, oh my God, the Devils are 3 guys right now that are on this kind of deal and are going to stay. But we'll get into it. Maybe on the next Hockey Talk Show, because we will definitely get into it on the next Hockey Talk Show, because we're getting into that area. Clayton Keller, Pierre-Luc Dubois with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Alex DeBrincat with the Chicago Blackhawks. Will these guys stay and will these guys go? A majority of them, and maybe even almost all the rookies that we look at tomorrow, are going to be sticking with their clubs because they're doing well. And I must mention Nolan Patrick in this same breath here. He has done wonders for the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't even think he's playing on that great of a line with Travis Konechny and Dale Weiss. I think that's far too low of a line for him. But hey, he's a first-year player. He's got to figure it out. But he's got Philadelphia playing a little bit above their means right now at a 5-3 record, 8 games into the season. They're in the last spot in the Metro division here. I don't know, that tough Metropolitan division. I did not want Philadelphia to be there. I picked them to be fighting for a wild card spot. But they're in there right now. I mean, nobody picked Jersey to be in there, and look at them with a 6-2 start. Let's also mention that Tampa Bay is doing outstanding, 7-1. They're going to be one of the best teams in the East, and unless the Washington Capitals figure it out at 4-4, which I believe they will, but you never really know, I'm going to have to take them out of the top of the mix and have them fighting for a spot in this division over here on the east side. So there's a lot to contend with. The Metro division might not look like Washington, Pittsburgh, and let's see who's in that last spot between the Islanders, the Rangers, Carolina. I thought would be better. Washington, of course. I thought Carolina could be coming up a little bit better this season, and they're at a 3-2 start. They're not horrible. It's not horrible, but it's not great. But let's see. It's still all early. But my point is I don't think anybody thought that New Jersey would be as good as they are, nor Philadelphia. And it's still early for Philly. And let's be honest, Philly's at 5-3. That's like, an average start. When you're 6-2, you're not that far away from 7-2. Look at Tampa at 7-1. When you start getting 8 games above 500, I know it's early, but when you start putting that space in there, you can lose 2 or 3 games and then win the next game or 2 or split the next 2 games. You know what I'm saying? You get that cushion in there. That cushion matters. Don't act like that cushion doesn't matter. You can't tell me that Tampa's not feeling the luxury of a 7-1 start and Edmonton is not feeling the pain and the pressure of a 2-5 start, because I know they are. And I know the Rangers are feeling it, and I know the Canadians are feeling it. Forget Arizona, because, it's embarrassing that they haven't gotten a win yet, but it's not nearly as embarrassing because nobody really picked them to be there. But Montreal's at a 1-6 start. The Rangers are 2-5. And Toronto is 6-2, and the Devils are 6-2, and Tampa's 7-1. We knew Tampa was going to be there, but let's be honest, the Devils and the Maple Leafs, surprising. Now, I picked the Maple Leafs to finish in the top 3 in the Atlantic Division, but nobody else did. And I didn't think they'd be doing this good, but they are. So take that for what it's worth. But there's so much to be talking about early on in this season. I must also quickly mention that Zach Parise, sources indicate, and let me bring this up for you here. This is from The Athletic. Michael Russo reporting this just a little while ago, an hour ago, in fact, that Zach Parise is contemplating back surgery as early as Tuesday. So depending on when you're watching this, he may already be going under the knife. That is super quick. He's got a herniated disc. Apparently, it didn't affect him last season, but bothered him the season before. Now it's starting to bother him again, not in his back, but in his leg. But the injury, the disc comes from the pain is in the leg, but the injury is in the back. He might be out for a good 2 months or so, and that would be devastating for Minnesota, who in their start so far is middle of the pack, really, and can certainly use the help from a Zach Parise. Minnesota right now sitting at 2-2-2. Pretty much far down in their little division there on the western side. Bring it up for you so you can see. There they are, Minnesota at 2-2-2 behind Anaheim, Calgary, and Colorado with a surprising 4-4 start. You're starting to see those overtime losses come into play early on here in the season, where Colorado's at 500, and technically, I guess Minnesota is at the new weird NHL 500 at 2-2-2, but Colorado a little bit more ahead of the game as far as points go. So look. The thing is, it's early in the season, and damn it, is it exciting. There's a lot of stuff going on. Stay up to date with everything here on the Hockey Talk Show. We do a show each and every weekday. Do a couple of ones on the weekend, maybe we'll see, but we're going to start our live shows really, really soon. It's important that you're following us on Facebook not just liking our page, but make sure you go on over to that follow button and hit get notifications. You want to get all the notifications this way when we go live. You can call into the number and express your opinion. We'll also be on YouTube Live. Don't just subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, and make sure you're getting all the notifications right there so you know the moment we're going live. For everything else, you can go to the Hockey Talk Show's website, hockeytalkshow.com. I'm your old pal, and I'll see you on the next shift.